Hey Savvies! So I received this subscription box from Goodfood and I thought I'd film the experience and provide a review of what I thought. I love that the recipes look like they are actually vegan and super easy, so follow along for the review. Cauliflower is still trending and I've had my fair share of cauliflower tacos, so I was really interested to see the flavors that this recipe would have. I like how the cauliflower included in this recipe was a huge head. I could have easily made 3 to 4 portions even though the recipe only called for 2. You simply just have to wash, chop up, and roast the cauliflower in the oven with the pre-packaged spices. While the cauliflower is roasting, you prep the pineapple salsa at the same time. I love that it used the zest and juice of the lime. You really tasted it in the final product. I also really liked how this pineapple salsa uses simple ingredients that I always seem to have on hand, like garlic, shallots, and lime. I always tend to have pineapple in the freezer, so this will be an easy go-to in the future. To make the salsa, I liked how it was a warm salsa where you had to cook all of the ingredients before serving. This added step really brings out all of the flavors of the ingredients. The spices also made the salsa really savory. After the salsa is done, top with cilantro and it's ready to serve. After the cauliflower is done roasting, it's time to make the sauce. This recipe was honestly the most time and effort consuming, though it was still pretty easy to make. After mixing all of the sauce ingredients, mix in the cauliflower and it's ready to serve. Originally, I thought all of these recipes were vegan, but then realized that there was mozzarella cheese, but I don't want to waste, so I used it. And I also added extra vegan cheese to make it more cheesy. The next recipe ended up actually being my favorite of the 3 since it was much different from the way I typically cook, even though I typically already have these ingredients on hand. I especially love the mafaldine noodles and I'm on the lookout now to purchase these in the future. The green beans were also very crunchy and super flavorful and topped with hazelnuts and with a spice that I am unable to determine at this time. The first step was a bit time consuming and I'm not sure if tearing off the ends of the beans were actually in the directions, but this is how I typically prep my beans anyway. I also love sun-dried tomatoes and always forget to incorporate them, but this served as a great reminder to use them in the future. These hazelnuts also went really well with the green beans and something I may do again in the future. I also loved how each of these recipes taught you how to mise en place your ingredients, since it's a good habit to have when cooking. I love the shape of these noodles and their texture. They look like mini lasagna noodles and was so fun to eat. For the beans, I've heard that toasted almonds is usually used, but never heard of toasted hazelnuts. I really like the flavors, but I'm unable to tell if the spices are in the mixture, so I don't know if I can recreate this. A new ingredient that I discovered was canned cherry tomatoes. I always have chopped tomatoes on hand and I really like the sweetness of these cherry tomatoes. I actually went out and bought a few cans myself. This sauce was super simple to make and honestly you can't go wrong with a simple tomato sauce and chewy pasta. I also liked how browning this with some bocconcini cheese really made it feel like a casserole, though in the future this step can probably be skipped. I also realized after this dish was not vegan. The green beans were a really nice side dish to the pasta. There was so much food that this whole meal ended up making 4 portions and it was so nice to have leftovers the next day. This final recipe is Thai green curry. Now, I always make Thai green curry, but I'm always curious to see what other recipes taste like. This recipe did come with lots of veggies, pre-made green curry paste in a reusable jar, and also made 4 portions. I really liked how this was served over red rice. I actually had some on hand in my pantry, but to be honest, what don't I have in my pantry? Anyways, I also liked the sauteing of the white part of the green onion instead of using a whole white onion. I also had some green beans and some other field greens from my garden, so I decided to throw those into the curry as well. I love curries, especially during the colder months. They are so easy to make and use ingredients readily available. I do find it hard to find fresh lemongrass, however. I have seen chopped frozen lemongrass ready to use in the freezer section of ethnic grocery stores. You can also easily find green curry paste in jars. Based on your level of spice, it can go a long way. There was so much tofu and veggies in this dish that I actually added a bit more water to make the sauce more saucy because I knew that I wanted to make 4 portions since there was so much curry, so much tofu, and so many veggies in this. Overall, I was able to turn 3 recipes, 6 meals into 3 recipes and 10 meals. This recipe was probably the least exciting since I always make this dish at home. However, pairing it with red rice was something new and exciting and definitely something I will do in the future. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Now set forth and be savvy!